And now these are Jewish men. This is Peter, James, and John. They know that God has appeared in the Old Testament. He appeared and He revealed Himself in visible form, and it was always some kind of visible manifestation of light. A cloud, a light like an iridescent cloud. And they even came up with a word called Shekinah, the Shekinah glory of God, to describe this phenomenon. At the initiation of the priestly service in Leviticus 9, God appears in light. In Exodus 16, God appears to Israel as light. In Exodus 24, God appears to Moses as light. And Moses' face glows for 6 months. They had to put a veil on it. In Exodus chapter 20 and chapter 40 and verse 34, the tabernacle is completed and God appears in this Shekinah glory. In Numbers 14, when the children of Israel rebel against God, again, He comes as light. A couple of chapters later, in the 16th chapter of Numbers, at the exposure of the sin of Israel, God appears in light. Again, in the same chapter, a few verses down, at the rebellion of Israel against Moses and Aaron, God appears in light. In Numbers 20, God appears as light at Meribah.
At the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow. At the name of Jesus, every tongue confess.
And then when the temple is completed and dedicated, it's recorded in 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 11, when the glory of God descended on that place, everything stopped. His glory was so overwhelming, so massive, so suffocating, so heavy that no one could even stand up. The word glory in Hebrew is the word kavod. And one of the meanings of this word, in addition to the word glory as we use it, is the idea of weight. Not like time, but like mass. It's heavy. And this is why Paul expresses this exact idea in 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 17 when he said that these light and momentary afflictions, our suffering with Christ, are doing one thing. They are preparing us for a weight of glory that is beyond compare. And without the suffering, you're not prepared to receive that weight of glory. Paul says in 1 Timothy chapter 6 that God lives in unapproachable light. The prophet Habakkuk in chapter 2 and verse 4 sees a future day when the full glory, the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of His glory, and the glory of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. There will be a time in the glorious kingdom of Christ when somehow His glory will literally cover this planet like a weighted blanket. Every knee will hit the ground because it has weight, it has mass, and it brings us to a stop. No one can stand in the full glory of God. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. You remember that Moses said to God, "Show me. I want to see your glory." And God says, "You know that no one can see my face and live." This is Exodus 33. "So I'm going to show you my backside." And so God says, I'll show you my glory. He tucks him in a rock and puts his hand over and lets him see a glimpse of His glory from his backside, because the full glory would have consumed him. These glorious appearances of God in the Old Testament are confined or are limited or restrained so they don't destroy the viewer. What's God's purpose in revealing Himself in light? In every single case, it is to strengthen their faith. To let them know that God is there, God is present. Jesus Christ is the same today, yesterday, and forever, and He will never leave us and He will never forsake us. The living God has not remained silent, and although He is invisible, it has made it possible to be able to be seen.
In your name I come alive to declare your victory.
suicide rates are rising rapidly. So most Jesus followers should prepare ourselves for a more active role in preventing suicides. We are on the front line since pros rarely get involved until a foot soldier helps connect people in crisis with trained professionals. E94.org is a Christian ministry dedicated to equipping the church to prevent suicide through free training of foot soldiers to prevent suicide through training, consulting, and resources. Get equipped to give hope and help and confidently refer people to professional counselors. Learn more at e94.org. Thank you.